Welcome back to another video, and today we are discussing everything to do with the potential approval of the upcoming Ethereum Spot ETF. But as always, before we jump into today's topic, please make sure to drop a thumbs up on the video below if you enjoy these videos. We are dropping multiple videos every single week, so hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon so you can get updated when all of those fresh videos drop, to stay up to date on all the latest moves in the crypto space. So let's jump into today's video. And as we mentioned, today's topic is all around the potential approval of the upcoming Ethereum Spot ETF. Of course, with the approval of the Bitcoin Spot ETF in January of 2024 this year, there has been a lot of hype around the potential approval of an Ethereum ETF in the next couple of months as well. The Bitcoin ETF has been very successful in its first 30 or so days of trading. We're going to look at some of the details about the success of the Bitcoin ETF in a few minutes, but a lot of the same Bitcoin ETF issuers are the ones that have applied for the Ethereum Spot ETF. And just zooming in on the list of issuers here, we've got VanEck, we've got ARK Invest with their 21 shares Ethereum ETF, we've got hashtag NASDAQ, we've got Grayscale, Ethereum Trust, we've got Invesco Galaxy, we've got iShares Fidelity, with BlackRock being the iShares one. So a lot of attention now being put on the approval of these ETFs, and it's looking like potentially we could see something similar to what we saw with the Bitcoin ETFs, where we get a clean sweep of approvals for all of these ETFs, even though they do have slightly different deadlines. We can see VanEck's final deadline is May 23rd. The ARK Invest deadline is May 24th. The Hashtag's deadline is May 30th. Same thing for Grayscale. The Invesco and the BlackRock and Fidelity all have deadlines in the kind of July to August time period. But it is being thrown around that we could see a clean sweep of approvals by this deadline date, which is around May 23rd of 2024, where not only would they approve the VanEck Ethereum Spot ETF, but they would approve all of these ETFs to do everything in one clean sweep, similar to what they did with Bitcoin on January 10th of this year. So as per, a number of reports here, the SEC must decide on VanEck's application by May 23rd, while BlackRock and Fidelity have deadlines as far out as August. But we could expect simultaneous decisions on all outstanding ETFs, Ethereum ETFs, by the May 23rd deadline. So there is the potential that these could get pushed out even further. Gary Gensler and the SEC are the ones to make this decision, and they had previously pushed out the approval of the Bitcoin ETFs basically as far out as they could possibly push them. I think there is potential for them to kick the can down the road a little bit for the approval of the Bitcoin, or of the Ethereum Spot ETFs, sorry. But many analysts are saying, they're in this kind of 60 to 70% range for the certainty of the approval of the Ethereum ETFs. So as we move towards the end of May, it will be interesting to see if these approval rate percentages continue to increase. That definitely happened as we moved towards January 10th with the Bitcoin Spot ETF. As we entered December, there was a lot more positive sentiment around approval rates, and we went above 95% as we move towards that January 10th deadline. So it'll be interesting to see if some of these analysts revise their likelihood of approval percentage as we venture closer to this May 23rd deadline. But as we saw with Bitcoin, the spot ETF approval has been very successful in its first 30 days of trading. We've seen accumulation of over 287,000 Bitcoin buy the 9 new Bitcoin Spot ETFs only in that first 30 days of trading, and we have seen Bitcoin's price rise as a result of all that activity from about the mid 40s on January 10th when it was approved to the mid 50s today, sitting at 54,399. So we're up over 20% on the Bitcoin price since the Bitcoin Spot ETF approval on January 10th, a little bit over a month ago. So a lot of positive sentiment around what the ETF has done for the market. Of course, we saw a little bit of a drop off in this week or so, week to 10 days after the approval. A lot of that, could be put down to the sell-off with the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust and a lot of those Bitcoin flowing into other ETFs because Grayscale's fees are so much higher than the others. We saw a little bit of a sell-off there before bouncing back, and we are up over 20% since the Bitcoin Spot ETF started trading. There has been a huge amount of Bitcoin accumulation by the ETFs in that period, and we're averaging between 8,000 and 10,000 Bitcoin per trading day being accumulated by the 9 new ETFs. And if the accumulation continues to happen at that rate, there's only one way for this chart to go, and it is upwards, because the amount of Bitcoin that they're accumulating at 8,000 to 10,000 per day just is simply not enough it's simply too much, to compared to the supply entering the market at about just over 600 Bitcoin per day right now. And with the upcoming Bitcoin halving at the end of April, that is getting cut in half to just over 300 Bitcoin per day. So comparing 300 Bitcoin per day entering circulation versus 8,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin per day being bought up by the ETFs, we are in for an imminent price squeeze upwards, and the success of the ETFs continuing to push that price even higher. So again, another thing that we're seeing here with many of the institutional plays is how these new cryptocurrency ETFs are going to ultimately become part of these institutional portfolios over time. And typically what we would have seen is a 60-40 split in terms of stocks versus bonds in a portfolio allocation. And basically what we're going to look at here is a comparison of how the 60-40 split with stocks and bonds compares to a split where we do a 1% Bitcoin allocation versus 3% versus 5%. So with a 60-40 stocks to bond split allocation, that type of portfolio generates about 50% returns over the time period indicated on the graph here. By simply adding 1% Bitcoin allocation, 1% BTC allocation with a 59.4% allocation towards stocks and 39.6% allocation towards bonds, that portfolio generates a 91.1% return, which is a greater than 41% improvement from simply a 60-40 split. And as we take that even higher with Portfolio C and Portfolio D options here, where we do a 3% Bitcoin allocation, 58.2% towards stocks, 38.8% towards bonds, that generates a 180% return. And then doing it even more aggressive again with 5% allocated towards Bitcoin, 57% towards stocks, 38% towards bonds, giving you a 267% return over the same time period. So at a very high level, what we're seeing here is that these institutions are beginning to make the case for why Bitcoin and cryptocurrency needs to be part of these institutional portfolio allocations. And we're going to see, we've already seen it happen over the past 30 trading days, but more and more capital allocation is going to be going towards Bitcoin and other ETF approvals like Ethereum in the coming months, where 1, 2, 3, 5% of these institutional portfolios is going to be flowing into Bitcoin Spot ETFs, Ethereum Spot ETFs, and any other successful cryptocurrency ETFs that we see in the very near future. So the floodgates are beginning to open. This table basically summarizes those returns for those sample portfolios with a 0% versus 135 returns when you include Bitcoin at those rates. So staggering differences here in the amount of potential returns that you could have seen having, been allocating those percentages towards Bitcoin over the past 3 to 4 years. So very interesting to see how that plays out. And it'll be very interesting to see if we can get those Ethereum spot ETFs approved in the coming months and see further capital allocations towards these cryptocurrency ETFs and how much money these institutions are going to begin allocating towards them. So lots of interesting stuff going on. I think the success of the Bitcoin ETFs in the first 30 days of trading cannot be understated, and we are on the precipice of a potential Ethereum ETF approval. Let us know in the comments below if you think we're going to see an approval of an Ethereum ETF as we approach the end of May. Do you think it will get kicked further down the road? What are your thoughts? What is the sentiment that you're seeing around all of this? As always, if you enjoy these videos, please make sure to drop a thumbs up on it below. Hit that subscribe button because we are dropping multiple videos every single week. You're going to want to get notified about them, so hit that notification icon. And as always, we will catch you in the next one.